So I finished getting the roof sheathing done. The compressor and hose, everything froze up, so I resorted to hand nailing, but I got it done. And now I'm working on the gable end walls. And this is something a little bit different that I'm doing than you typically see. This gable end is going to be set out 1 3/4 inches. That's typically what you see on these 1960s, 70s style bungalows, is you have like a vertical sort of plywood siding that overhangs, is stepped out from your bevel siding. So that's the look I'm going for, have that sort of depth look. And then that also gives you room to run a 2x4 on the flat on the inside of this wall for drywall backing, so it'll overhang and it'll be at the same level as the ceiling joists. So just kind of a little bit of an easier way to do it. But this is sort of where you can see what I mean by the lookouts are going to be bearing on this wall. So already here, that lookout is bearing on this. So that sturdied that eave up a lot. So yeah, I'll keep going. I'll put another one down there, one across the bottom, and then just go 16-inch centers for the studs, just progressively down. I'll start in the center so I can have a seam in there and then just work from either side. So yeah, I'll keep going. So making progress with the gable end here. You can sort of see what I mean now by how it's stepped out. And yeah, then I just put studs in there every 16 inches. I'll do the same on this side. And then that'll get covered with a sort of vertical board and batten looking siding and then painted. All right, so I got the roof all finished up. Now I just have to, I'm gonna take the router, clean all those ends off. I just used some of the more garbagey plywood to cut up and fill in this top, but everything's nice and solid. Like, I don't feel it. All right, so today our focus is going to be getting the snow out of here. I got Danny helping me shovel, and I'm just going to backblade and try and scrape it all off. There. that shouldn't cost too much money. So at this point in the framing process, I think I've spent about $500 or $600 on new material, and I'm sort of estimating that the total cost of this garage, like labor for Garrett and everything like that, be around $2,000 or $3,000. So that's not bad at all. If I was to quote a garage like this for somebody, like not even including the concrete, insulated and finished inside, it'd probably be around that $30,000 mark. So I'm saving quite a bit by doing it this way. So we'll stop at some stores here and see what we can find as far as material goes. So I'm just in Lowe's right now, and this is some of what I'm looking for. This is like a more OSB product, and then they have this stuff, which is plywood. It's got that rabbited edge. I'll keep looking around though and see what else I can find. So quick cut scene here. I'm now in a Home Depot somewhere in Washington, and this is several months after I filmed that initial part, but I'm just going to show you the rest of the selection here that they have in terms of siding, what you can't buy in Canada. This here is really what I wanted for the garage. I believe they call this a T111. I don't know if they have a thing on it, but I got something similar, or I think this is the stuff I actually ended up buying, but this, it has a different texture on it and a little bit better grooves. This stuff's just primed, but yeah, it's kind of cool walking around in here just to see the different selection, how much more they have to choose from in the States. It's crazy. So I've been working on soffit here, used some of the existing, and then I had to pick up some new stuff in Saskatoon, and this is 1/4 inch and this is 3/8, and the reason this is thinner is so that this plane right here is the same and that corner doesn't stick down, like it's all in the, like you can kind of see the edge of it, but that's just because there's a little gap. But so now what I'm gonna do is I cut these pieces at 1.25 inches, and they're gonna run along the length of the bottom of the soffit to fur it out. So when I put the gable end stuff on, it'll come down to the bottom of the fascia, which will hang about here. Okay, so there's an example of how those boards work. I'll just need a little filler one over there. But basically it comes flush with the bottom of the soffit, because this will technically be visible underneath, so it'll just get painted white like that, and then have a piece of 1/4 round go all the way around. And then I got one length of the finished fascia on, and see, this is what I sort of mean by these being at the same level, so it doesn't look like one is dropped, it just looks like one nice continuous piece. So yeah, basically the next step will be getting the gable end material, and I did end up going with this OSB stuff, just because those two, like I went to every lumber yard in Saskatoon basically, and these were the only two that they carried. Nobody else knew what I was talking about, which isn't surprising. This is sort of, 1960s, 70s style building materials here, so I'm surprised they actually still make something like that. So here's a good example of how we use a lot of these more cut up sheets. This one will get, the damaged part will get completely cut out for the overhead door, so this makes good use of all of our material. Alright, so we're starting on gable end here. Now I'm gonna take a little bit to sort of show you what we do. We got the first piece cut here, and it's fastened on. We do the center first, just so we can get this middle line right in line with the ridge. And that's just because I'm sort of picky. But now we'll just pick a side and go in either direction. Okay, so for cutting this stuff, got the gable scribe set to the angle. Put it on here. That gives us our line. And now we got the track saw to make this easy. Line that up. And then, I should make my 1 3/8 mark. I make this mark because that's how far it's got to hang over that bottom. It should be square. And I just flush it up with that. Actually, I should tack this first. Make sure it's... This is sort of hard just by myself. I'll try. Yeah, you hold that right there. It's gotta be. And I'm just fastening this with the narrow crown staples. It seems to be the best to hold it. So the end of another day, all the gable end is up, all the eave fascia is up, quarter round to trim out the gable end. Got the miter saw set up in here. And then this side, got the same thing. So yeah, that'll look nice all painted up. Thank you for watching episode 3. Be sure to tune into episode 4 next week, where we focus on moving the stove into the building, getting some heat in there, and getting some shingles on the roof. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.